2 weeks after my cancer surgery, my mother-in-law Helen dumped my prescription pain medication down the toilet and said, "We don't tolerate drug addicts in this household." My husband Marcus sided with her, threw away my medical supplies, and ordered me to mow the lawn under the blazing Texas sun. Curled up on the bathroom floor, holding back tears, I didn't beg for mercy. I reached for a hidden phone instead, and within 48 hours, the life they had built together began to collapse. Do you have any idea how much this is already costing us, Marcus? The hospital bills, the time off work, the constant care she's going to need. It's draining everything. Sometimes I wonder if she even understands what she's putting this family through. Helen's voice echoed through the bedroom speakerphone on the eve of my double mastectomy. Sitting silently at the edge of the bed, I gripped the blanket so tightly my knuckles turned white. Less than 12 hours later, surgeons would remove both of my breasts to save my life, yet the weight of their frustration barely seemed to matter inside that house. To me, the operation was overwhelming. To Marcus and his mother, it was a financial and emotional burden they resented more with every passing day. "I'll handle her, Mom," Marcus replied with a weary sigh. "I'm already stretched thin." His words hurt almost as much as the diagnosis itself. 2 weeks later, the surgery was behind me, but recovery proved far more brutal than I had ever imagined. Every movement sent searing pain across my chest, and even drawing a full breath felt as though jagged shards of glass were pulling against fresh stitches. One afternoon, desperate for relief, I slipped into the master bathroom and locked the door. My hands trembled as I reached into the medicine cabinet for the prescription my surgeon had warned me never to miss. I hadn't even removed a single pill when the door burst open. Only then did I remember Helen kept a master key to every room. She strode straight toward me, snatched the bottle, and fixed me with pure contempt. "There will be no addicts living in my son's home. We're already drowning in medical bills. We don't need you creating more problems." Before I could stop her, she twisted off the cap, dumped every pill into the toilet, and flushed. I stared helplessly as the medication disappeared. Another wave of unbearable pain surged through me. The only words I could force out were a broken, "No, please." Footsteps echoed down the hallway. Marcus appeared in the doorway, glanced at me curled on the floor, and stepped over me as though I weren't there. "Marcus," I pleaded. "My medication. I can't manage this pain." She threw it away. He didn't help me up. He didn't ask if I needed a doctor. He folded his arms and looked down with open irritation. "My mother's right. This whole thing has taken over our lives. The money, the time, the constant attention. I'm exhausted." Then he picked up the box containing my sterile dressings, surgical drains, and spare medical equipment and tossed everything into the trash. "Get up. The grass hasn't been cut. Maybe a few hours outside in this Texas heat will remind you that the rest of us still have to keep this house running while you're recovering." He turned and walked away. Helen followed, looking completely satisfied. The door clicked shut, leaving me alone in absolute silence. I remained on the cold tile, too weak to stand. Cancer had already done enough damage to my body. What truly died on that bathroom floor was the last fragile hope that my marriage could still be saved. The woman who had spent years sacrificing herself for Marcus's love and chasing Helen's approval quietly disappeared, replaced by someone who finally understood that survival mattered more than acceptance. Ignoring the pain, I crawled toward the vanity. Hidden behind a loose strip of decorative molding was something I had concealed years earlier and prayed I would never have to use: a prepaid cell phone. I switched it on, carefully entered a number I still knew by heart, and waited. 5 years had passed since the last time we had spoken. The line rang once, then someone answered. I swallowed hard, fighting back tears, and spoke only 4 quiet words. "Brother, I need you." He didn't ask questions. Within an hour, he was on the road. By the next morning, he stood in the driveway with 2 lawyers and a private investigator who already held records of the joint accounts, the life insurance policies taken out in my name, and the quiet transfer of our house into Helen's name 3 months earlier. Marcus and Helen never saw it coming. By the time the divorce papers were served, the bank accounts were frozen and the house was under temporary protective order. I left that house with nothing but the clothes on my back and the quiet knowledge that I had finally chosen myself. The pain remained, but the cage was gone, and for the first time since the diagnosis, I could breathe.